The Civic is 50 years old. Now that's a touch longer than I've been alive. And it says something, that it's still got the same name and essentially offers the same thing. Yeah, it's got bigger and wider, but it's still a Civic at the core. Introducing the all-new Civic e-HEV. I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto.
Good morning and welcome to yet another road trip. This time in the all-new Civic e-HEV. And we're heading down to near Bicester for the Suzuki S-Cross launch. And this should give us a good feel for the car and see what it offers. And I suppose if it's any better. Now without further ado, let's join, well, me on the forecourt.
Now before I get changed for the drive, I thought I'd just take a look round it and then we can have a look at what's changed from the previous gen. I mean, for a start, it's far more understated. The thing about the previous gen was it looked, let's say, radical. Now that really plays into my ballpark. But the majority of Civic owners, no, not really. So this, well, it's got a certain elegance to it, which is quite apt considering the first trim is Elegance. You can also get a Sport and an Advanced. And don't forget, we will be seeing the FL5 Type R. Now it may be smoother, sleeker styling, but it's no less aggressive. Also the way it's put together, the colours, the black and the pearlescent white. This is a fair bit of chunky sculpture. It's also got parking sensors and LED fog lamps, dependent on which variant you go for. Now interestingly, Honda have said that they've sharpened the front up, which I suppose they kind of have with angles like this. But it still has such beautiful design lines. I know it's not a proper corner splitter because it's built into the bumper, but it does appear that way, especially with the pearl. LED rear lenses and LED front lights, and that's across the full range. But if you go for the Advance, then you get Matrix technology. It's remarkably good. It handles like it's on rails, but when you look into it, it's no surprise. It's got a laser brazed roof, which gives it far more rigidity. I think it's about 19%. You've got an aluminium bonnet to reduce weight. You've got a resin boot. You've got a far more sloping roofline, which gives it coupe-esque looks. 18-inch wheels. Big fat flared arches, but no cladding. And that's it. It's done, I suppose, tastefully. Even the side skirts, they're slight. Just look at the silhouette of the vehicle. And even the Type R is going to have an understated rear spoiler, a bit like the Sportline. Across the full range you get Honda Sensing, which includes things like lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, now with stop go, parking sensors that operate on, it's like a sonar system. You've also got things like cross traffic alert, power folding door mirrors, blind spot detection, and that safety suite is, well, let's say substantial. Now dependent on the trim you go for, depends on the features you get. For example, ours has a cloth interior, we have heated seats, but if you go for the Advance, you get things like heated steering wheel. I mean, there's way more, but we'll cover it in the road trip. The other thing about it is, Honda have seen it's a gap in the market. What they've tried to do is make it appeal to SUV drivers. The cabin space is far bigger and it feels far more airy. It feels pretty damn good. Padded areas, gloss inserts and all your tech here. Climbing in, well, with the Civic, well, it's child's play with the previous gen. Let's see how this is. Perfect. They've added emotion so you feel connected to the car, and that's through the design and I don't know if you call it ethos or aura or whatever. There's something that makes you think, ooh, we will be travelling, I think it's around 500 miles. Considering I've only done about 80 so far, and I never thought I'd say this, it's far better than the previous gen. It's essentially a whole new car, far more refreshed. They've uprated this, that and the other. They've increased the steering response by using different bearings, new subframes, new mounts, refined the engine bay. In essence, the Civic is far better than it's ever been, and it was pretty damn good to start with. Now the cluster's nice and straightforward, and you feel like you're in a cockpit, especially with this centre area. So no manual anymore. This is an e-CVT. Very straightforward, and you've got driving modes down here. Electronic handbrake and brake hold assist. Rotary dials for your aircon, and even a rotary dial on your infotainment. Now we remember when Honda took all that kind of thing out. Yeah, it didn't go down very well. It's even really easy to reach, and the seat's not that far forward. You just need to look at this area here. Shortcut buttons down here. We can tow. I said there's no manual, but I class this as a manual box. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. As Annabelle would say, it's just lifted it. Far more modern, it's far more sleek. It's like a whole new standard. And I think it's about a 3-year warranty, but it's a Honda. It'll last. Now, it wouldn't be a proper interior section without... Ooh, nice and solid. That's it. Great build quality. The design language here. Gloss inlays. All this soft touch. And a black roof. After 400 miles, you'll have to prize this from my hands. That's the thing about sport. Comfortable, supportive, and sporty seats. Good quality, and I love this pattern. I've also got adjustable seat belts, so that'll please Annabelle. It's just very nicely designed. Wireless charger, heated seats, also got aircon, and that's digital. Decent cubby hole here, and you've got to love a centre armrest. It's a great driving position. Reach and rake in the steering wheel. Headroom, a good 2 inches, and 50 to the gallon on a motorway. And I reckon it'd be closer to 70 when you're doing eco runs. Now it'll be interesting to see how that accentuated roofline, which slopes far more than the previous gen, affects headroom. Keyless entry too. Now the biggest change has to be this door card. On the previous gen, there was a lot of black plastic, but it wasn't the best quality either. This is far better, and you've got inserts, padded area, and it looks to me like there's far more room. Climbing in, it's never been a problem in the Civic. And even with that roof, it still isn't. I have to duck my head a little bit. But sat like this, I can feel my hat ever so slightly on the roof, but it is sat about this far above my head. So at 6'3", I can sit comfortably. I can also see out the windows. Good leg room, and I can get my feet under the seats. And a reduced transmission tunnel. The cabin's got considerably bigger. Now this is a rather dark interior, but you don't have to go for this one. It still feels light and airy, even with privacy glass, but they're not the narrowest of windows, so that's good to see. Grab handles above every door, and interior light, airbags around the vehicle, and ISOFIX points, and a pull down armrest. Ooh, nice and low, I like that. Comfortable supportive seats, and if you've noticed, they're not too upright. That's interesting. Because of the sloping roofline, it looks like they've reclined the seats more. Yeah, you will find some hard plastics, and there is a little bit of flex in things, but overall it's very good. We've even got USBs and some vents. Now one thing I have noticed is you've got hard plastics here, but it's a far better quality than the previous gen. It's very tastefully done. I mean, just look at the rear diffuser styling. Parking sensors, reversing camera, the way the rear windows fitted, it's all flush. There's so many aspects that just appeal. And as it's e-HEV, you don't have to charge it. It just charges itself when you back off, brake, coast, etc. And it does a damn good job of it. Let's take a look in the boot, because we'll certainly be using that. Before I move on, we've got the blue here. Now it's a decent size, and I'm sure I've read that the hybrid system doesn't impact anywhere on the car with its space. I like this. Well, it just eliminates the parcel shelf. Drop in the seats, literally, you can do it from here, and you push that, and then pretty much flat too. And no gap here. You can get, well, your week's shopping in there quite easily, maybe even a month's. Suitcases, and it's perfect for our adventures, because we can get our camera gear in, our bags, and any other random bits we have. Boot light, we've also got a boot liner. Now I must stress, you don't get this as standard. Shopping bag hooks and a 12-volt socket. Tethering points, and they're mounted to the car body. Perfect. Now that is a decent space. You release the bonnet on the driver's side and then push it right. Well, you can tell it's an aluminium bonnet. That is ridiculously light. Everything with this car is about streamlining and giving it better efficiency, whether that's weight reduction or design of the body, and it works exceptionally well. It also uses a more high pressure system, so it uses less fuel. I mean, it looks like a conventional engine, to be honest. The other thing is, it's nice and easy to see where to top up your fluids. Now that's a novel place for a wiper top-up bottle. I think the only thing I can say is, let's get on that road trip. Let's get this road trip underway. Welcome, old friend. Or new friend. Well, it's certainly changed a bit since the Civic that we've got, the EJ9. But that is 23 years old now, and you can feel the difference between this and the earlier gen. But when you look into it, you'll be amazed at what they've actually changed, updated, upgraded, the aspects and the depth and the whole. Well, I don't think, to be honest, there's anything they've left untouched. They've also done a similar thing to, I think it's Hyundai, where you get what they class as like an emotional connection to the car. Also, they've made the steering more direct, so it's more engaging. Now, if I put my foot down, Annabelle's camera will just go because that's how quick it is, which surprised me considering it's an e-CVT. I know you've got a 2-litre engine, but it's Atkinson cycle.
Clear.
So, typically, okay. Clear still?
Clear.
Okay. Now that is not how an e-CVT performs. The other thing is it still gives 65 to the gallon. Yeah, granted, not driven like that. Now the way the e-HEV system works is it recoups when you decelerate and brake, and that'll put power back into the batteries. There's also a new feature on this, and it's called, I think, literally Twisty Road something or other. And the car kind of reads the road, realizes that you're on twisty roads. It'll increase your regen to give you more feeling, and it makes it more responsive. And it works. Annabelle, thoughts? e-CVT. Yeah, exactly. Not what you expect.
No.
Completely transformed. The way that Honda have advanced in this technology is pretty mind-blowing, to be honest. Also, in sport mode, it will pump a little bit of sound into the cabin to make it more growly, shall we say. So, we're just leaving the crag in about half a mile. Then it's jump on the M6, and I'm going to have to do some rather sedate driving. Not for the economy reasons, just because, well, I reckon they'll be pretty snarled up. The thing that you're always aware of with this is you've got the amazing system Honda Sensing, and it's watching like miles ahead. Well, not literally miles, but further than you can see. It's also got collision mitigation. Now, the sad thing is, yeah, on this Civic, there's no manual. And there's only this powertrain too. Okay. The bottom line is, I'm going to rave about this car. I love Civics as it is. But I didn't think anything could top the previous gen. And I think I'm wrong. Refinement in the cabin, well, good. You can hear a bit of tyre noise, not surprising. I think it's a 40 profile tyre, and if I'm not mistaken, it's 18s, but on a nice bit of road. It does quieten down, and it's not got a pure electric range, but it does drop into electric mode as much as possible. So you've got hybrid, you've got EV mode, and you've got petrol. And what it does is seamlessly change